What's up, YouTube? Hefe coming to you, Captain Awesome's Fish Room. It's Friday, guys, so it's Q&A Friday. It's exciting. Don't know what series it is, but hey, it's going to be awesome anyway. I just wanted to show that purple Kabamba right there. Got from Jay Corns 33IA is his YouTube handle. Real cool guy. Go check him out, sub up to him. Check out his planted tank. Stuff is just awesome. I also wanted to do a shout out to a handful of people, guys. Dolly VH and Big Munoz 11. You know, a couple well-known guys in our community. Just through that contest, it was an awesome contest. Definitely brought the community closer together, and you know, when people do that, it's exciting, and you know, it's a great thing because it gets people more excited about you know, some of the stuff that we're doing inside the hobby, and you know, it brings it helps you to meet people in the hobby, you know, and just get your name out there more. There's actually 2 winners inside that contest, and there was 3 runners up. First place went to Cyber Aquarist, just like Big Munoz 11 said about him. You know, definitely a really cool guy. Plans everything out to a T, and it looks awesome when he does it. Second place went to Lou9294. Another great channel to watch, guys. Sub up to all these guys. It's definitely worth your while, and you'll definitely learn something from them. One of the runners-up were Forrest, my boy Cichlid Man09, doing awesome things over there with the dove eyes right now, man. Those fish are gorgeous, bro. They're just looking super sick. And another runner-up was C-Solo 541. Another great channel, guys. And then Slim Tim, always fired up about the hobby. Planted tanks look awesome. Just a real cool guy, real knowledgeable. So definitely check all those guys out and sub up to them. Only got one question for Q&A Friday this week, guys, but it's okay. It's definitely something I love to talk about. Everybody knows that I'm a huge water quality advocate. I love water quality. I love filtration. It's my favorite thing in this hobby, next to fish, of course. But question came from 209 Aquariums. He asked, what is the best type of filtration for large cichlids, sumps, canisters, hang-on backs, etc.? Make sure you go check out his channel, guys. He has some Oscars, has an RTC, and you know, some Africans. Real cool guy. Go check him out. But as far as his question, there's really 4 types, or well, 4 main types that you see most often. As you see my bulldog here looking at the sump. Watch out, girl. There's 4 main types. You have your sponges, you have your hang-on backs, you have your canisters, which I don't have an example of. I'll tell y'all why. And then you have your sump systems. At the end of the video, I'll give you my all-time recommendation of what I think should go, you know, on any aquarium, more specifically a large cichlid aquarium. So we'll start off with sponges. Sponges aren't really something that you want to have inside your adult cichlid tank, unless of course they're small. You know, some of the drawbacks with sponges is that they do take up some area inside of your tank, so there's less swimming room for your fish. And you know, the most common drawback is that you can't really filter efficiently with adult fish, unless you run a ton of them, which, you know, you still wouldn't get as good as filtration as you would with some of the other filters. They're really easy to clean. All you got to do is take them out, squeeze them, hold them, put them back in the tank, let them go, and then put them back where you want them, and you're done. So, you know, a great filter. You know, I started out my Gorillas Blue Umbifrums with 3 sponge filters. They're to the size now, guys, where I'm about to put a couple hang-on backs on there, and you know, get them started that way, get more filtration in there, and then once those hang-on backs are done, I'll take those sponges out, and we'll be good to go until I hook them up to the centralized filtration inside my new fish room. So those are sponges. We're going to move on to hang-on backs. Hang-on backs are great filters. I actually have 2 of them running Big Rig's tank. I think he wants some food. I'll show y'all a little feeding. while I'm talking about hang-on backs. Like I said, hang-on backs are great. You know, they are efficient enough to run a system, but I love when he eats. Awesome. But they are good enough to run a system. But there's a few drawbacks unless you get the right ones. As far as hang-on backs, Aqua Clears are the best ones to me. They have a media basket, totally customizable, have awesome flow, and you know, just ease of maintenance is enough to get one of those. But with a lot of your hang-on backs, you get these little cartridges, which guys, if you're new to the hobby and you like these cartridges, I'm going to tell you straight up, they are garbage. You know, they do their job for what they are, but they are garbage. The actual cost of running these things is, you know, it's just astronomical to have to buy a new cartridge all the time. So I don't totally agree with that. And before they started putting these little plastic inserts in here for your biological colony, every time you had to change these, you were throwing away most of your biological filter, which is completely ridiculous in the fact that you would be restarting the cycle on your filtration unit every time you change the cartridge if you didn't have you know, some other type of biological media in there already. You know, they're good for what they are. Next, we'll go into canister filters. The best thing about canister filter is until you go up to a sump, you're getting a huge media capacity, guys. And with media capacity, that's really important with filtration and flow rates. The more media that you have, the less flow through the media that you need to have. You know, you don't necessarily have to turn over that water as much when you have more media. To give you an example, the Aqua Clear 110 hang-on back turns over 300 gallons per hour for up to a 110-gallon tank. And basically, I mean, what that equates to, guys, is about 3 gallons per hour per every 1 gallon in the tank if you're doing a 110-gallon tank. With the Fluval FX5, turns over 925 gallons per hour for up to a 400-gallon tank, and that pretty much equates to 2 gallons per hour for every 1 gallon inside of your tank. So you're turning over every gallon in that tank 2 times. So I mean, the media capacity, it definitely, you know, will turn down the amount of water that you have to push through the media. And I mean, the reason for that is that the more media that you have, you don't have to push your water through it as much because the water is being filtered efficiently the first time it goes through that media because it's going through so much of it. So the less media that you have, the more that you have to turn over your tank. You know, any comparable filter, you know, you can do the math on it and it'll show you that, you know, the flow rate is a little bit less when you're, you know, upgrading from a hang-on back to a canister or a canister up to a sump. So, you know, the more media that you have, the less flow that you need. You know, I always like to, my rule of thumb is to turn over any tank at least 10 times per hour. That's just what I like to do. But you definitely want to shoot for at least 3 to 5 times per hour. Especially with the large cichlids, guys. These guys are heavy eaters. You know, messy fish. So you definitely want to turn over the contents of the aquarium. You know, at least 10 or 3 to 5 times an hour, with 10 being optimal. A few other cool things about the more modern canister filters is that they're electronically metered, which means if you get a little bit of air in there, it'll actually purge the system to keep the filter running at its full efficiency for you. So that's a pretty cool deal. I don't particularly use the canister filters because, you know, typically they leak, for me anyway. I like to use sumps, which brings me to my next point. Well, first let me give you you know, a little bit more on the canister. Another cool thing about them is they come with optional rigs the majority of the time. What I mean by that is they have different types of flow settings, like spray bars, nozzles, different types of intake methods and stuff like that. And you know, so that's another cool thing about them. They can be a little pricey though, so you know, someone just getting into the hobby, you may want to stick with a hang-on back or something like that. You know, with sump filters, which are, you know, fantastic filters, you're getting the best of every world, in my opinion. The sheer media capacity that sump filters has blah blah blah, the sheer capacity that they have to hold media is second to none. You can put so much media inside sump filters. Like over here I have 12 to 15 gallons of biological media inside this trickle tower here, and I turn over this tank about 8, 9, 10 times per hour, but I could run a smaller pump on this tank and still have the same, you know, filtering efficiency. You know, I mean, of course it's better that it's being filtered 10 times per hour, but I could run a lower pump on here, and with this same setup, if I up the pump size, I could run a way larger tank. I could probably run a 300-400 gallon tank with this setup right here. And another cool thing about sumps is that if you get the right one, you can run every single aquarium inside of your fish room off of one filtration unit, which means it cuts down on energy costs because you're only using 1 to 2 pumps, and you're only using 1 to 2 heaters instead of a heater inside every tank. And you know, back to the media capacity, I mean, with this sump here, guys, look at all that area that you have to put media in there. Bio balls, pot scrubbies, ceramic rings, whatever you want to use. You just have so much area to put stuff in there. And then when it flows over, I mean, of course your mechanical is going to be at the top right over the drip tray here. And then you have that over it, which bringing the water into the tank. But once it goes over, you can put your chemical media here. And a quick excerpt on the chemical media, guys. I don't use chemical media inside any of my tanks unless they're just started up, or unless it's a quarantine or hospital tank. Because if you keep up on your water changes and your maintenance, you won't need chemical filtration. It's just simple. You know, if you keep up on your maintenance and stuff, you don't need chemical filtration. I don't use chemical in any of my tanks unless you know, the previous mentioned is happening. And then you have a lot of space in here to put your heaters, your pumps, your protein skimmer, you know, just anything that would normally be an eyesore inside of an aquarium, like that heater right there. If I was running this tank on a sump, which it will be, you know, soon, I hope, if the IRS will get on the ball, then, you know, it just frees up room. It gives your fish more swimming space and stuff like that. And Big Rig, you like sumps? See, even he likes sumps. But yeah, guys, that's Q&A Friday. Another quick thing about a sponge filter is you can make them more efficient if you run a power head on them. If you get a power head that'll fit inside the top of that tube right there, you can actually run your sponge filters a little more efficiently. Buy you a little bit more time until you have to upgrade. But yeah, guys, with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. Hope it was informational to somebody. And like I said, go check out those guys I mentioned at the beginning of the video. This is what I'm doing. This is what I've done. Rate, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time, guys. Peace.